Buying your home could be the most important decision you ever make, as it's the start of a whole new chapter in your life. So you should make sure that you take the time to understand exactly what's involved. The more prepared you are, the smoother the whole process will be. First things first, people buy homes for many different reasons, but you need to be sure it makes sense for you both financially and emotionally. You might think you should buy a house to avoid wasting money on rent because at the end of the mortgage you'll actually own the property. But renting can have its advantages too, like not having to worry about upkeep, and also you're free to move property if you need to quickly. Before you take the step onto the property ladder, you need to ask yourself, how would I feel if the value of my house dropped? If interest rates increased, could I afford higher monthly payments? And have I saved enough for a good sized deposit? Generally speaking, the bigger the deposit you have, the better the mortgage deal you're actually going to get. Of course, you may already own your own place but have decided you need more space. If that is the case, you could consider expanding your current home before automatically looking to buy a new one. Work out how much the work will cost and what value it will actually add to your property. You should also weigh up the pros and cons of living in your house while building work is going on against potentially renting somewhere on a temporary basis until all the work's finished. Then look at moving, but don't forget extra costs like stamp duty, land tax and home information packs, which are often referred to as HIPs. You might want to downsize and save money, but remember, besides the obvious expenses like mortgage repayments, there can often be less obvious ones such as estate agency fees. So do your sums first to make sure you really will be saving money in the long run. If you are ready to buy and you've got a good idea of how much you can afford, you can start looking for your new home. There's lots of things to think about, such as the type of property you want, its location, the number of bedrooms, and whether or not you want a garden. There are lots of options, so it can help to make a checklist of must-haves and nice-to-haves so you can evaluate each property as you go along. You should look at as many properties as possible to get a good idea of what you like and also how prices actually compare. You can do this by contacting a few local estate agents, looking in local newspapers, and also searching online. Whenever possible, take your friends, as they may spot something you haven't and also offer a different point of view. Mortgage lenders now need a deposit, usually a minimum of 10% of the house price. The more money you can put down as a deposit, the better the mortgage deal you can get, which could actually mean a lower interest rate. So, if you haven't already saved up, set yourself a goal and start saving. Buying a home often means other costs aside from the loan itself. For example, you may have to pay stamp duty, land tax, and you should be prepared to pay for costs including moving and estate agency fees. And if you are selling a property, don't forget the cost of the home information pack. Then there are other mortgage-related fees. If you only have a small deposit and you have to borrow a high percentage compared to the value of your house, the lender may charge a fee to take out an insurance cover. This is called a higher lending charge. This protects the lender in case you can't pay back your loan and they have to sell on your property at a loss. Then of course there are solicitor and other licensed conveyancing fees. They can really help you when it comes to taking care of all the legal details. It's not something that most of us like to think about, but if you are buying a home with someone else, you really should think about taking out a life insurance policy. That way, the outstanding amount on your mortgage will be paid if either one of you pass away. When you're sure you've found the right place, you'll want to make an offer. This is a big step, so make sure you're ready. Here are a few key questions you should ask yourself before you sign on the dotted line. First, what's the maximum amount you can afford to spend on monthly repayments? You'll need to think about exactly how much you'll need to borrow. Have you confirmed this with the lender, and are they willing to lend you this amount? Once you have these answers, you'll have a fair idea of how much you can offer and how much you're willing to negotiate with the seller. Talk to the estate agent as much as possible. For example, the seller may want to move quickly, or they may be having problems finding their next property, so use this information to strengthen your bargaining position. Also, don't forget to ask which fixtures and fittings are included in the sale. Again, this information could be part of your negotiation. To make an offer, get in touch with the estate agent. Tell them what you're prepared to pay, usually an offer lower than the asking price, but always remember that they work for the seller, not you. So this means they probably won't have your best interests at heart. Be prepared for the seller to reject your initial offer, but if you do want to make another offer, just make sure you don't go over your budget. Once your offer's been accepted, you still have plenty to do. If you haven't done it already, get in touch with a solicitor, and you still need to finalise your mortgage application. You also need to arrange insurance for your property and its contents for when you've moved in, and let's not forget about moving those contents in the first place. Moving house can be very stressful for everyone, so it's handy to create a checklist that will help you get prepared. Remember, the more prepared you are, the smoother the process will be, and the more you can enjoy your new beautiful home.